Hello everyone, welcome to this week's weekly market view for Monday the 3rd of April to Friday the 7th of April 2023. My name is Vishal. Let's get started. Alright, let's start with the Nifty chart, and since it's the new month, which is the month of April, let's start looking at some key levels on the monthly chart. So as you can see, we closed the month of March with an indecision candle. Now, this can possibly indicate that there is a pause in the market. We are still holding this level of demand, which is a key level of demand. And there is a possibility that in case if this level of demand holds, we can clearly see from this candle formation that there has been a lot of selling and then there has been an immense buying. And today's candle has also opened a little bullish. All right. So let's see from here where the markets are going to move. More or less, based on the price action, there is a possibility that if this level does hold, we might tend to move up pretty strongly. Right? At least that is what the monthly charts are suggesting. Okay, let's move on to the weekly chart. Let's get rid of this. Let's try and gauge what the weekly chart is telling us. So we came into this weekly level of demand and we went deep inside this level. We've been talking about this level for a long period of time. And now we are seeing a little bit of a reversal, right? So if you look at this this formation here, this is like a drop base rally. Now, if you look at this potential turning point, since this level held and the low that the candle made on this particular week was 16,828, there is a possibility that we might start moving up and we might start moving up again towards this tested area of supply. So I'll just mark that here. And this is going to be an area to watch out for because the markets have been struggling in this entire area. So 17,800 to 18,289 will be an area to watch out for. If the market turns bullish from here and starts to move up again towards this area, only and only when this 18,289 level breaks to the upside, one can assume that we might move again into the bullish momentum. But until then, we are expecting the markets to remain absolutely range bound in this situation. So right now on the weekly chart, we can expect the price to remain range bound, and we might expect to see just the price just moving between this area here. Price could definitely come into this area again, but we might just turn into a consolidation before the price do something like this or eventually do something like this. So until then, we are just going to be seeing a little bit of more consolidation coming in the next few weeks. Let's move on to the daily chart. See what the daily chart is telling us. So our IV gauge tool is telling us that the option premiums are pretty deflated at this point in time, and today also we have seen this this candle here. Now, very interesting that we do have this area here, and this is not a great level because you see the wick is has already moved up. So what will be interesting to see is whether the markets do come back into this area here. This will be an area to watch out for, 17,660 to 17,830 level. So if we do see a move, there is a possibility that the move might come. Now, what would happen is that we may not get a move straight into this area here. So there is a possibility that before the markets move up, they might do something like this, might do something like this, and then eventually come up into this area. Right. So the moment the price comes into this area, then we will have to wait and see whether the markets create something like this. Right. So once they do this, then more or less there is a possibility that we might see a potential turn in the market, and we might again move or start moving down into a range of consolidation. All right. At least this is what the daily charts are suggesting right now. There is no nearby supply level on the daily besides 17,660 to 17,830. On the demand zone front, if we see this level held very, very well, although it did give us those initial jitters when the markets kept on falling down, but this level really, really held strongly. And now we see a nice strong move to the upside. So in case if the market does come down to this level, I would not be very, very keen to expect a bounce. It might bounce, but then there is a more likely possibility that we will move into the next level of demand, which is possibly sitting somewhere over here. This is an area to watch out for, which is more or less the gap level. So these are the key levels on the daily chart. Now let's move on to the intraday chart. Let's go to the 75-minute chart first to see what's happening here. So on the 75-minute chart, we broke through this entire consolidation. So I'm just going to plot this consolidation over here. So this was your entire consolidation. We finally gave a nice breakout to the upside. And I'll just probably just disable the. So this was your consolidation. And now we have a nice breakout, right? There is a possibility now that we might get to see some reaction coming from this level, but that correction, that move might just lead to this level playing out. So what I'm expecting the market to do is if we do see a little bit of a move to the upside, and let's say if we are able to take this high out, then we might either do something like this and then come into the demand zone and start moving up towards this area here. So this is an area to watch out for. Price has revisited that area on one occasion. What is going to be more interesting is to see this level over here. So I'm going to keenly watch this 17,800 supply zone because there is a possibility that we can eventually move towards that area. That is an area where we could see the price turning and then the price is falling. So right now, what are the possible scenarios? The possible scenarios are that the market could possibly just react to this, come into this area of demand, then start moving up, maybe give a little bit of a correction from this area of supply, then again move up and eventually come into this area, right? So seems like now being long bias is going to be the key. All right, so just be careful on shorting this market now because we are bouncing and bouncing strongly from the higher time frame demand zone. Let's now look at an intraday perspective and let's see if there is any kind of a counter trend trade or level setup here. So on the intraday chart, we do have these two levels to watch out for. So there is one level that is sitting here right above the gap, which is this supply zone here, 17,600 to 17,632. And then you have another level over here. This is more or less a level on top of level. With the right color. So these are the two levels to watch out for intraday. Not really keen on holding onto these positions for long, but let's see in the coming days how these levels do play out. Most likely we might get a pretty decent reaction from these two levels. Let's now move on to the Bank Nifty. The Bank Nifty has been considerably the stronger of the lot, to say so. And let's look at some key levels on the Bank Nifty. Okay, so let's start with the monthly chart first. On the monthly chart, yep, this is the level of demand. It is held and held nicely. We found nice candle here. Now the path of least resistance seems to be more towards the upside, towards this area. Should not have a hard time if the prices do get into a little bit of a strong momentum. in the few weeks or few months to come, we might see this level again getting retested, which is 42,950 odd levels. All right, let's now move on to the weekly chart. And on the weekly chart, let us see what Bank Nifty is doing. So on the weekly chart, we again held on to this level nicely. This was your weekly level of demand. Now we are again moving up. And it's most likely like just like how we have the Bank Nifty supply, you have the Nifty supply zone. Price might come again to retest this weekly supply zone. So let's now go quickly to the daily chart and let's see if there is any level within that 41,739 odd levels. Let's put a horizontal line here somewhere. So let's go to the daily chart now, and yeah, we do see this this one level of supply, but this level of supply is more or less a reaction to this level. So this is actually the origin of the move, which actually helped create this new low. So there is a possibility now that we might move again back to this area. As you can always see here, there's a possible trend change in the Bank Nifty. You can see some higher lows being formed, and now you also see some potential higher highs, right? So what can we expect in the coming days on the Bank Nifty? If the Bank Nifty has to move up, if it moves up, can move up very strongly straight into this level, but may not happen. And what we might see is that we might see another dip in the prices. Prices might come back to this level of demand and then possibly again start moving up. So this will be a good healthy impulse to the upside rather than the market just going up in one direction. Let's see whether that happens in the coming few days to come. The options volatility is suggesting that Bank Nifty option premiums are pretty deflated right now. So not a good time to actually create any kind of selling strategies or credit strategies, to say so. Let's go on to the 75-minute chart now. And let's see if there are any key levels here. So there is nothing clear on the 75-minute chart. Let's go to the 30-minute chart. And on the 30-minute chart, just within this this entire range here, we do see these two levels, which are more or less coinciding with the Nifty levels as well. So these will be the two levels to watch out for. Drop base drop, 41,359 to 41,528. Still a very, very long way to go. And as you can see how the price action is also not very, very great, right? So in case if there is any kind of reaction from these supply zones, there can be a pretty strong fall, right? So what can we expect? We could possibly expect, move like this. And then if the price hits, then we might see a little bit of a sharper move to the downside. Let's see. Let's move on to the 5-minute chart. This is going to be more or less here. The 5 minutes, let's see what the price action is. So it's a pretty messy price action. I mean, looks pretty messy out here, but let's go here. So these are some of the key levels. This drop base drop, I think that's more or less coinciding with the level that was already plotted. So these are the key levels to watch out for. Still very, very far away from current market price. So in case if we get a nice demand zone formed here, we can still take the move towards the long side, towards the upside over here. But then once we come closer to this gap, then we should stop going long. Okay, so and just keep on moving up like this. And then once we reach the gap level, we stop going long, and then we wait for the price to either move into this area of supply and then start giving us a potential reaction. Let's move on to the USD INR. Let's check what the USD INR is telling us. So the USD INR is a little bit of a slow mover, but what we can see now from the monthly chart of USD INR, it has just been consolidating for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months now. Right, so nothing is clear yet. We do have a nice level of demand stacked up over here. So this is going to be a level to watch out for, but doesn't look like in the short term this level is probably going to come and retest, but we never know. And let's look at the weekly chart. Again, on the weekly chart also, we are just consolidating into this massive range now. So what will be interesting now is that once we break out of this range, right, what is the USD INR going to do? So eventually we might see a very strong move to the upside, or then if this price level breaks, then we might potentially see a very strong move to the downside, at least till that monthly level of demand. Okay, let's look at it with an intraday perspective. So these are the levels on the basis of intraday. Nothing much has changed for days. We are just in this very tight range. So unless and until price hits this level, or let's say even this level, we might not see a reaction. And similarly, if price does hit this level, then we might see a reaction here. So prices are just stuck in this sideways range, and unless and until we see a potential breakout, that is possibly something like this, we might not see a big move. So what we are expecting is, we would expect USD INR to do something like this, or then USD INR to do something like this. So more or less, these are going to be your key trap levels. Let's see whether we get an entry into those levels. Hopefully, if we do get an entry, we are expected to see a potential bounce coming in. Let's look at a important stock for this week. That is going to be Sun Pharma. Let's quickly open Sun Pharma. Let's check if there is any opportunity on Sun Pharma. Let's start first with the monthly chart of Sun Pharma. So on the monthly chart of Sun Pharma, prices are now coming closer to the all-time high. So currently Sun Pharma is trading at 979, and we can also see that it is being holding on to this level of demand, right? So definitely we are more closer to the higher term time frame demand zone. Let's look at the weekly chart. Although this weekly demand zone was not great, because if you look at this candle here, it's already below the base, but since it held on to this level, we'll possibly just mark this level in a slightly different way. This and this is where the prices are now bouncing and starting to move up. There is no clear level of supply, so there is a possibility that the markets could do something like this, come into this level, and then move again to the upside. So again, pretty much right now the higher time frame charts are suggesting that Sun Pharma is more or less a good buy on pullbacks. But let's quickly have a look at the daily chart. Nothing clear on the daily chart. Again, prices are just bouncing out of this daily demand zone here. Let's not this area. And this level was more or less in conjunction with the weekly and the monthly level, right? On the 30-minute chart, we do have something interesting here. We do have this rally-based rally. You can just barely see how the price just came into this level and moved out very, very strongly. So this is possibly indicating that there could be some unfilled orders sitting over here. So what we are expecting is, in case if Sun Pharma comes into this level, uh, there's a very high possibility that we might move out of this level also very, very strongly. All right, so pretty much this was the analysis for the week. We do this every week, and I hope this analysis was useful to you in identifying the key levels for the indices as well as some of the key levels for some stocks. We wish you a great week. This week we have 2 holidays. So tomorrow the markets are going to be closed. And then on Friday also the markets are going to be closed. So this is going to be a very, very short week of trading. And let's make the best out of this week. There is some news that is coming out. We also have corporate earnings. So just be careful when you're trading with stocks. Try to just make sure that when you look at trading stocks during corporate earnings, make sure that the company is not announcing the earnings on the day you're trading the same stock, especially intraday traders, because if the result does come out during intraday, then there are these extreme spikes and you might just get knocked out for no reason. I hope this information was valuable. See you all next week. Trade safe. Bye-bye.
This should not be treated as a recommendation. Please conduct your own analysis or consult a financial advisor before investing.